So it's World Mental Health Awareness Day. I'm joined today by Geoff McDonald, and we have 5 questions in 5 minutes. So it's World Mental Health Awareness Day. Do we still need this day?
Hi, Gethin, and thanks for having me. Absolutely, we still need this day. Depending upon where you live in the world, we need this day. So if you're living in what I would call developing and emerging markets, if you are in Asia, absolutely, we need this day. If you're in the UK, Canada, and Australia, yes, we still need this day to ensure that we continue to climb Everest in addressing the whole area of mental health in workplaces.
In your opinion, what are the key differences between mental health and mental well-being?
The key differences between mental health and mental well-being, I don't really see any difference in those two terms. I mean, mental health is a wonderful thing to have. When I've got sound cognitive abilities, I can read a document, remember it, I can concentrate, I can focus. I'm healthy mentally because my cognitive abilities are sound. I think mental well-being implies the exact same thing, having good cognitive abilities. I think there is something different between mental health and mental ill health. And so, as I say, mental health, wonderful thing to have. But sometimes we struggle with our mental health and it might not be as good or as strong as we would like it to be. And I usually refer that to being mental ill health. Common forms of that being depression, anxiety, bipolar. And so I think there's a difference between mental health and struggling with a mental ill health condition.
And you have made a career out of speaking to companies all around the world about what they're doing to do with mental health and improve the mental health of their staff. What's an example of something great that you've seen a business do for supporting mental health of their employees?
I think there are a couple of things, Gethin, that I've seen. I mean, the first is that you have employees of all levels, from senior to junior to very influential individuals in those organizations, just sharing their stories and telling their stories of their encounters with mental ill health. And I think in sharing those stories, it just begins to normalize this conversation. I often say that every story that we tell is like sending a lifeboat out into the ocean. And people who are struggling, they cling onto the lifeboat and they realize 2 things. The first thing they realize is that they are normal. And the second thing they realize is that they're not alone. And the more stories we tell, the more we normalize this. I think the other thing is seeing organizations truly invest in teaching everybody and raising the levels of awareness and understanding through training of every single person in the organization around mental health, mental ill health. What is it? What are the symptoms, etc., etc.
And while there's been undeniable progress around understanding of things like anxiety and depression, some mental illnesses like personality disorders are still pretty misunderstood and very taboo. How can we work to remove the stigma of these kind of more serious mental health issues?
I think it comes back to what I just said, Gethin. I think it's about storytelling. It's about actually making heroes out of people who might have struggled with some of those conditions, who are still living quite functional and normal lives, yet they still have some of those conditions and they're able to bring value to the world. And so how do we make heroes out of some of those people? And then I think finally, it's about education. It's about, the more we've got to understand the way in which the mind and the brain functions, I think we've got to educate. I often think that the reason that there's stigma around some of those more extreme forms of mental ill health is because people are just not educated. We don't understand it. And so we fill the vacuum of little understanding with stigma and all sorts of stories that we kind of tell ourselves and tell others. So for me, education, making heroes out of some of those people who've had some of these struggles, continue to have those struggles, but have recovered, and are making huge positive contributions to the world that we live in today.
And my final question in our 5 questions in 5 minutes, can you recommend a resource that could be a person, a tool, a book, etc., that you've personally found useful in supporting your own mental health and well-being?
Yeah, Gethin, I'm gonna give you 2. So the first one is the 4-pillar plan, written by Dr. Rangan Chatterjee. I think it's an amazing book. It's so practical. It's so simple. It also provides some of the kind of science behind why you might do certain practices to maintain your overall well-being and your mental health. The second one is a little acronym that I saw the other day, and it's called CAN DO. And I dedicate 60 to 90 minutes every single day to all the elements of CAN DO. The C stands for connect. Go out there, spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes every day just to connect. Connect with nature, connect with a friend, connect with your community. The A stands for be active. Take 15, 20, 30 minutes to just go and be active every single day. The N stands for try and be nice to someone every day and see what that does to your emotional health. The D stands for discover. Learn something new. Be curious. Listen to a podcast of something that you're curious about and you want to learn more about. Discover. And the O stands for observe. Just take some time out during the course of the day, every 2 hours, to take a 5-minute or 10-minute observation break. It might be your mindfulness moments, it might be a bit of meditation, or you might just go and stand in the daylight and just observe and be grateful for what we have.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Geoff. You're an inspirational man. You've got this lovely zen about you, which I love. And I know it's a really busy week for you this week. So we really appreciate you joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Gethin. And hopefully we'll see each other in more normal times as things hopefully begin to normalize whenever they do.